Testing, testing, testing. Sorry about that. Literally talking shit about the internet, and boom, the Wi-Fi antenna drops off. It's always something. It's always something. Always something. All right. Let's see here. Let's get this thing up and going here. I'm gonna get this thing hardwired to the modem, and then that Wi-Fi antenna will be thrown directly into the garbage. Okay. Where are you at? There you are. All right, beautiful. As I was stating earlier, before I got smited from the internet, from the antenna, dollar, I like it higher. So as long as dollar is going to go higher, I will most likely have a bearish bias on Bitcoin. Not necessarily Bitcoin, but Farcoin. So we tried to short on it earlier this morning, and we got stopped out as I was looking for entries at the week open or potentially the prior 4-hour high. As you can see, it went all the way up and made a fresh day high. Now, it didn't get up above yesterday's high, but making a fresh day high is ensuring that you stop out literally anybody and everybody who's got short prior to the 9:30 open. As you can see, I don't know how much you heard, but for the last 4 days, the sellers have been a lot more aggressive on this asset. So basically what I'm saying is, if it refuses to break down today, because today's Tuesday, so we should have a weekly high or a weekly low. So if it refuses to break down today and make a fresh weekly low, then chances are this is going to explode to the upside. Maybe not even explode to the upside, but just grind higher, because the selling pressure will, in a sense, be gone, right? If your sellers are more aggressive and prices continuing to float up, you have a massive divergence there where sellers were, at least retail, are more aggressive to the sell side, so that it essentially says someone is supporting the bid. So we don't want to continue to try to just get short so many times, when obviously the price is telling us here that the selling pressure has been exhausted, right? And that's kind of what we're seeing around the crypto market, as most everybody has fled. Everybody who wants to sell Bitcoin has already sold Bitcoin, and because the AI trade right now is so hot, you just essentially have seen rotation completely away from crypto. And then also you've got all those betting websites that a lot of crypto volumes went there. So basically it's just going to be the hardcore traders that are left behind. So you see real light volumes across some of the more widely watched crypto assets. I understand Farcoin is not one of those widely watched assets. We like it here in this community because it provides 5% daily ranges, and that's what we need when we're looking to scout ranges. But SpaceX, because I had to restart my computer, I was unable to get a fill on SpaceX. But I did like it lower as long as it was trading under this current 3-day open. And you can see right here where you got that essential entry. It didn't give you a perfect test, but sometimes you don't get that. So in that scenario, it's sometimes better to watch the small time frames if you're not willing to jump on it before it gets there. You don't want to get into a big habit of doing that, obviously, but still, that's the level. That is so close. That's where I would have been putting the short on, and the stop would just be right above. So because if it gets back up here when the bell rings in 10 minutes, it's not going to be something that I want to be short, right? Because you currently have the same scenario where you're at support down here. So as long as you're at support, we have to be very cautious because, you know, we understand that markets stay sideways and choppy most of the time. People are constantly looking for fresh breakouts and fresh breakdowns, and it doesn't happen that often. So you could see choppy price action here. But hypothetic or objectively speaking, as long as SpaceX is struggling to break above 160, 146, then I probably want to be holding a short. Let's see where the funding rate is, because I'm going to be holding that short on a crypto exchange. So I want to make sure the funding rate's paying the sellers. It's not, it's paying the longs. So funding fees are currently paying longs. Let me get you up there. That's not up there. Right here's up there. So right here is where I'm looking at the funding rate. It's not paying longs very expensively, so I'm not expecting that to affect price. But nonetheless, the longs are still being paid. And then the other positions that I'm currently holding, Bitcoin long from last week. We got long on Bitcoin over here during non-farm payrolls, just before non-farm payrolls. We bought right here. We took profits on it. It was a small trade, very small trade. I had to also drop it because my take profit was a little bit higher and it didn't quite get there. And since then, I mean, I paid $43 in transaction fees and then $16 in funding. So we've been long essentially since Thursday morning. But you can see how yesterday it got real close to getting stopped out. I assume it will be stopped out today or tomorrow if the dollar continues to be strong. We looked at Bitcoin last week to test it or to look at it versus the dollar in terms of correlation coefficient. And if we do this one more time, right here, so you're very close to inversely correlated. Now it is bouncing from this area on the daily time frame. 3-day is laying flat on the inversely correlated, and weekly is currently dive bombing to inversely correlated. So as long as this is the trend for this indicator, we have to basically just, whatever the dollar does, look to do the opposite on Bitcoin. And at least as long as you're closely correlated. Now, if you're looking at this indicator and you're getting closer to zero, then it doesn't matter what the dollar's doing. Bitcoin's doing its own thing. But right now, that is not the case. Right now, the case is that, yeah, whatever the dollar does, look to do the opposite on Bitcoin, at least for your near-term scalps, your intra-week, intraday scalps, that type of stuff. In terms of long-term investing, I've been buying Bitcoin all year. I stopped. My last buy was in June or just the first couple days of July, but I'm not going to buy anymore. I'm going to give Bitcoin a couple weeks to allow it to form some kind of support. I think it's very important that we see what the dollar does in the next couple of weeks. If the dollar is going to continue to go up, that's going to continue to put pressure on Bitcoin. So I guess for Bitcoin bullish positions, what we would really love to see is the dollar roll over. Unfortunately, the macro backdrop is not very supportive of that thesis. The macro backdrop is currently much more supportive of dollar up. But it is a very crowded trade. So on Fartcoin, right here was the prior day high. You can see how it traded up there, liquidated it. I got stopped out, and then I put the trade right back on as long as it's going to reject here. So when the bell rings, if Fartcoin comes back up, I'll close the trade out completely and be done looking for shorts on Fartcoin. I don't know if you're going to get another chance to get in on it, to be honest with you, because now the long side of the market is stuck because Bitcoin rallied so strongly yesterday on bad news, right? So everybody that tried to short it yesterday got stopped out. Now that Bitcoin was super strong and stopped out all the shorts, they're probably going to position for longs today. That's generally how the market works, right? It does the opposite of what we want it to do. Usually. We want it to go up, it goes down. We want it to go down, it goes up. But yeah, I think it's going to probably go down because I think the dollar is going to go up. So if we look at the dollar longer term, like on the week, you can see that trend clearly. And if we pull up our exponential moving averages here, you can see that you are currently above the weekly 200. That's not the one we completely worry about. This one is the yellow. So wherever that weekly 21 is, that gives us more of the near term trend. Now we can clearly see that price has also reclaimed the 50, which is the green. So right now you have a breakout where you've broken out of the range. Last week was a pullback week, and it was a far deeper pullback than we anticipated. So essentially what I said last week is if it continues to stay under 176, then that might change things, at least on the near term. But if price is finding support there, then I still must keep a bullish bias. And so far, so good. You can see how that daily 21 is also being lifted almost each and every day for the last 4 days. It's been coming up to support price. So what Bitcoin bulls want to see is a dump on the dollar. You want to see a dump on the dollar, break down, close under the 21, and then you want to see sell side continuation. You want to see it get back in the range and continue lower. So essentially you need a trend reversal. And I just don't think you're going to get that, unfortunately. But I am longer term a Bitcoin bull, so I would love for that to happen. I think the Fed is going to have to essentially cut interest rates to cause dollar weakness. And I don't think you're going to get interest rate cuts in 2026, period. So because July just started, that means you have the second half of the year. Right now, we just started Q3. So the Fed isn't fast. They don't move fast. They're not nimble. Basically, they've taken a hawkish stance on their last FOMC meeting. They kept a hawkish stance, but said inflation's coming down. So each time they speak, he could get a little more dovish. If he does that, that could help the dollar to top out. Then if you get BOJ action or more intervention, them selling $100 billion worth of dollar would essentially nuclearize the bid. Like it would just wipe it out, essentially. That could cause that trend reversal that is so needed in terms of dollar positioning or Bitcoin positioning, at least while you have an inverse correlation, right? So I wanted to short pound dollar, but I believe I have missed that trade. We're getting ready to get the bell in 1 minute. So basically what I want to see is a bounce back up to 133.850. If that can hold as resistance, I'll short it there. I'm currently short Euro and I'm currently long USD versus Swissy. Those trades have been, I've already taken profits on those holdings, and I'm just sitting in positions, just essentially accumulating the daily rollover rates. And because I think there's going to be further downside on Euro and further upside on USD Swissy. And today also what we're going to do, I got to pull this program up because I had to restart my PC, is we're probably going to position into some dividend stocks. So for people that have money I'm just going to go ahead and get this positioning working over here. I'm going to do about 100 G's. I'm going to disperse them here in these assets. MOVZ, VC, General Mills, I might wait on. And Johnson & Johnson is at all-time highs, so I might wait on Johnson & Johnson and go into General Mills, as if we do see any kind of rotations out of AI, which I'm not saying that's going to happen, then maybe General Mills finally finds support. It's been getting beat up for several years here. So the last 4 years, General Mills has been getting killed. And this is roughly, or at least in the US, usually a very good asset to own long term. But the last 4 years, it has not been. So I did look at analysts' ratings on this to see maybe if it's a wait. And right now, it's not. I mean, most people are just saying if you own it, hold it. There are 4 people saying to sell it. It's hard for me to think that it's still a sell after being sold off for 4 years. Could be. We'll see, right? The monthly looks bad. Looks really bad in terms of moving average structure. In terms of candlesticks, it looks fine. So I may position into this and then just get a stop under June's low. Something like that, right? But we're not going to buy it with any heavy leverage or anything like that. This is just a buy and hold, sleep at night portfolio to generate revenue from dividend payments. And also STRC is on that list. And I'm very hesitant about putting any money in STRC while it's trading under 90 bucks. Because 90 bucks was the floor on this thing for a long time. So, yeah, we're kind of in that scenario where we just got to see what the dollar does. Long term, dollar's going to affect Bitcoin, or at least on the near term. So we need to see what the dollar does here at the bell, 9:30. There is weakness in the dollar. There was weakness in the dollar yesterday as you broke down and trended, but it took a little while to get going. We were watching it yesterday, and then once it broke down at 11 o'clock, we pretty much knew our short positions on Farcoin and Bitcoin was going to get stopped out. So essentially, I would like to see the dollar at some point find support, or at a bare minimum, a higher low. Farcoin is at support here, so I wouldn't be entering a short right here. It does look like it. I mean, if it could take out that low, that would look good. But as of right now, you haven't taken that low out. So if you refuse to roll over, it's going to be bad. We'll see. Bad for shorts, I mean. Bitcoin currently testing the intra-week VWAP, the volume weighted average price. I don't like that it's under the weekly open, but you're far away from the weekly low. So if you set that weekly low yesterday, then today should put in a higher low. So you definitely need to stay away from yesterday's low. Yesterday's low is so far down there. If you break under today's low, which is right here at about 62,747, if you trend under that, then you could threaten yesterday's low. Basically, what we want to see for Bitcoin to maintain strength today would be at a bare minimum, just a liquidation under this, and then you would want to see it spring back above it. I don't know if that's going to happen. Yeah, we've completely missed SpaceX once again. And once again, we had the perfect level. Man, that antenna pissed me off so bad. We was just getting ready to fire off that position. Heavy selling pressure in SpaceX. What is risk doing? I don't have anything situated the right way yet. Risk is coming off. Let me get VIX. VIX is bouncing a little bit today. It's at 1601 right now. D-Vol is also above yesterday's open. Bitcoin is just about to put in a bearish engulfing. Now, there's still so much time left on this candle that could close as a bullish engulfing. This is where sellers would be defending if you take this low out. And there, that low just got smoked, didn't it? 923, 922. You got it. You got it by $1. So now, if Bitcoin's trading above 345, you cannot be a seller today. It gets back above that because at that point you will have a bullish engulfing candle. So right here is where the sellers will need to defend intraday if they are looking for a downtrending move. I gotta be honest, I don't like what I'm seeing out of the dollar in terms of for Bitcoin shorts. Where is this? There it is. Thank you. All right, perfect. Yeah, the dollar is still basically testing support. It hasn't done anything here that's too bad, right? As long as this low stays intact, you still have a potential uptrend. This is where looking at the higher time frame charts could potentially help some of you newer traders. And I know everybody wants to look at the 1 minute, but you can see here on the 8 hour that this low is lower than this low. So as long as that remains the fact that this could be a support test, even though if you're looking at this chart, right, it looks like the dollar's going to roll over. You can't say that until you take this low out. Bitcoin has already made that lower low. What's your view on MU and SNDK for longs? I don't buy things that are insanely overbought. So I was listening to a guy yesterday on YouTube, and he was talking about how nobody sold silver at $100. because nobody is good enough to see that trade in hindsight. We did, right? We did. I literally was telling people to sell at 100 or higher because it was so overblown to the upside, right? On the RSI, it was the only indicator I was looking at. You were literally at like 90 on the weekly RSI, 95 when it was up here, above 100. So I was telling anybody that would listen to take profits. I had people on Twitter telling me that it was going to 400. Why would you sell at 100? And I was like, it's at 95 on the RSI. It's probably not going to 400. Not at least this anytime in the next 5 weeks, right? That's my answer to you in terms of like, what would I do on those? We'll go look at them real quick because I think they have pulled back. MU, yeah, it has pulled back slightly here for the last 3 weeks. You've been pulling back, but you can see how overblown it got to the upside. So I would say it's going to be a difficult long on the near term because you have bearish momentum at least intra-week, right? The sellers have finally been able to take control, and you are making lower lows and lower highs. So as long as you're trading under like prior day lows, I wouldn't be a buyer. I would not be a buyer because you're trying to buy an asset that is literally in free fall. So if I was willing to buy MU, it would be for mostly just a scalp because it got so overbought. Now, here's the thing. Nobody expects the AI trend to end anytime soon except for bears. So my first support test I would want to see hold would be at least at the weekly 21. I would want to see support come in to play there. And then maybe if it's like trading above yesterday's low, then I could take a chance at looking at a long. But if that's not the case, I just think you're probably going to get ran over. It's going to be very difficult because there's so much volume coming in this thing, both to the upside and for sell side plays. It's just very volatile, very chaotic right now. Would I buy it at 1,000 for a 5-year hold? Probably not. Generally speaking, I want to get involved in an asset before the big move takes place, not after. Because after the big move takes place is when retail gets destroyed. If you're scalping momentum, that's different. Even then, I would be scalping momentum. So like here, for instance, on the pound dollar or on the pound trade that I'm taking like essentially right now, the reason I can even look for that short is because it is currently, here, let me do it differently. Because it is currently trading under last week's high. Right? This is last week's high. So I cannot be a seller if it's trading above this price. Because if it is trading above that price, then you have upside continuation, objectively speaking. So that means the bulls are not only in control of order flow, they are winning. They are getting their move. It is expanding, and it is expanding to the upside. Right? So if I tried to just sell at a random resistance level, I'm most likely going to get annihilated. So right now, the odds are against the short because it's above the weekly open. You're currently in an upside expansion move, and you took out that high. The only reason I'm willing to take this short is because of this right here. Okay? If I look at the RSI, it is currently under the 50, right? So the bears are in control of price as long as the indicator is under the 50. So at this weekly high, I can take a short, but I cannot take a short if price is above it. You would be looking for the opposite because you're looking for MU longs, right? It's above the 50. I get it. Yeah, it's very bullish. However, price is moving down. And you don't really have anywhere to mitigate risk from. So you would need price to stop going lower from this point. If at any point you get that, right? If this ends up bouncing, I lost my epic pen. Let me pull it back up. If this ends up bouncing back above this and then doing something like this, then you could take a long and put a stop under that low. But if it's not doing that, then you can't. Look at price. Look at what it's doing objectively. You're going to do much better in the markets. You're going to have to take, some leaps of faith, which is literally what I'm doing right now on this. Right now, last week was really bullish. So when we tried this exact trade last week, we got stopped out. This goes into account like people trying to predict what price will do. I'm not trying to predict what price will do. I'm allowing price to tell me objectively what it is doing. And that's it. So if the sellers are right here, right, you can see that there is selling pressure above this white line. So if they're right, if those sellers are right, this will break down. If they are wrong, they will get stopped out. So taking the short, we could be a little bit early. It's an aggressive trade. It's a risky trade. But at least we have objectivity on our side. We're not like trying to predict anything, right? We're trading the way trading is supposed to be done. I mean, that's a subjective statement. Obviously, the way that I trade isn't, supposed to be the way everybody trades. It's just, I wanted to take because I figured out real quickly that I was not going to be able to predict price ever, using any kind of analysis, whether it's macro analysis, price action analysis, technical analysis. None of it tells you what price will do. It only tells you what price has done. So we have to we look for these places where we think other traders would be interested in putting on the same position, and then we allow price and time to dictate whether we're right or wrong. We just mitigate risk. That is it. I have no idea what the dollar is going to do. I have no idea what Bitcoin is going to do. I have no idea what Farcoin is going to do. We have a near-term uptrend on this asset, right? For the last 3-4 weeks. Well, the last 2 weeks were bullish, clearly bullish. And this week so far is in price discovery. You haven't taken out last week's high yet. You're just now finding buyers and sellers at the weekly open. So time and price will tell us who's right. So right there was the prior day high. That's where it had to beat. and advance higher to be upside expansion because it reversed on a dime right there. That was why I put the risk on right there. I originally put the risk on down here, so I ate a stop already on this morning. I'm not trying to guess or predict it. I'm just making an, if it does this, then I can do that statement and then applying risk in that manner. In this scenario, if it fails to put in higher daily highs, then maybe the sellers show up and push it lower. Right here's the week open, though. It's a very big level. You're going to have a lot of trading taking place right here. Sellers think it's going to be lower than this by the end of the week. Buyers think it's going to be higher than this by the end of the week. We don't have a legitimate signal in terms of the VWAP because price is currently in price discovery testing that. On the 4 hour, we're no longer bearish. You have flipped bearish structure. So you currently have a bullish breakout here. So this is a big level for upside continuation. Big level. On the daily even, you have flipped to bullish. The only time frame where you still remain bearish is the weekly. But the trend, trends reverse on the 1 minute charts way quicker than they reverse on the weekly charts. But the trend, the longer term trend is obviously down on Farcoin and Bitcoin. We could be seeing a reversal, but chances are, I mean, unless you get a change in the macro backdrop, I don't see that. It's possible. So yeah, there's not a real clear short signal here, but we do know that at least for the last 4 days, at least since, well, not 4 days, but since Friday, the sellers have been more aggressive. Right? So that's the only thing we have for a short signal. That's it. It's not an A+ setup by any stretch of the imagination. Those sellers on Bitcoin are going to be looking to defend right here. If price refuses to trade above that, as time goes on, there is a huge chance that Bitcoin rolls over. As long as Bitcoin is above that, then you have a bullish engulfing 4 hour candle. That would give bulls confidence to jump onto a chase trade or a breakout. But as long as it's under this level, the sellers have it. All right. I just can't be bullish on Bitcoin until I see what happens with BIP 110 next month. Yep, we're going to see what's going to happen with BIP 110, and it's coming soon. Coming to a theater near you. I am assuming there will be a bunch of volatility around that. A bunch of volatility. I assume Bitcoin will probably be very chaotic and very difficult to trade around that drama. But yes, I would love for that drama to come and go without any, major destruction to Bitcoin overall. I don't care either way. I mean, obviously, I think Bitcoin is money. It should be money. I think storing images on the blockchain is kind of dumb. But for anybody that's making money doing that, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna tell them they can't. So I guess I would be considered a fence sitter in this, but I'm a trader. I'm not like a Bitcoin maximalist. I love what Bitcoin has the potential to be. I do, and I own a lot of it. I bought $20,000 worth of Bitcoin in June alone. So I have been aggressively accumulating it because it's 50% off. It's on sale. Could it go lower? Yes, it absolutely could. Especially because of the macro backdrop for the dollar. But that's just, I came from Forex, right? I didn't even get involved in Bitcoin when like until 2017. Like even as a trader, I knew of its existence as a Forex trader, right? What is this magic internet money everybody's going crazy over, right? But it wasn't until I started trading it, realizing that Bitcoin produces a lot of volatility on an intraday basis. It's absolutely perfect as a trading vehicle. But then over time, I did more due diligence into the asset class, and then realized what it was, how it was invented, what it was invented to be, yada yada. And that's when I began to fall in love with it. But I don't marry any asset. None. Yes, it would be amazing if Bitcoin could be that hedge against inflation, not the CPI inflation, the inflation that's been taking place on the US dollar since the 20s. Since the central bank became a thing. Since inflating away the dollar became their goal. Bitcoin sounds like an amazing asset. Only time will dictate whether or not it is or not. So I'm willing to invest in it. Just not more money than I want to lose. So it's a pretty big, I have a bigger position size in it than I probably should. I'll just say that. But most of it's trading profits. I don't buy Bitcoin with my hard-earned money, which I do because I'm a trader. My hard-earned money is trading profits. But as long as my bills are good and my bank account is flush, I have cash I can put to work in Bitcoin. And that's essentially all I've been doing. But yeah, I mean, I think ultimately the Fed will not hike. I think ultimately inflation will come down. Oil is down, so inflation CPI is coming down. Their favorite PCE, that gauge of inflation, will also drop. Oil will not have as much of an effect on PCE as it does CPI, but we did the math. It's about half of the effect that it has. So PCE and CPI inflation will come down. I think when it comes down, the Fed most likely does not hike. Now, I don't think they'll cut either. I think they're going to stay right where they are for the rest of the year. Next year, we may see cuts. So if Bitcoin is going to rally based on rate cuts, then 2026 looks like a wash to me. In terms of Bitcoin, right? In terms of it actually doing great things. Seems like maybe not this year, next year, which has been what 4-year cycle bros have been saying all year long. So, I mean, I used to be a 4-year cycle bro. I really thought that by ETFs coming in on board, that the 4-year cycle would die, would fade away into existence. Fade away. It did not yet. ETFs came online in 2024. So maybe the next cycle for Bitcoin, the 4-year cycle dies. I don't know. But if the 4-year cycle bros are right on the sell side, then they should be right on the buy side too. And the 4-year cycle mechanics say you back up the truck in November on Bitcoin. You just back up the truck, you buy as much as you can. 500 days before the halving, you buy. And then 500 days after the halving, you sell. Well, I guess I'm on the wrong chart. I did already have that outline down here. Anywhere from like 30 to wherever, 60 in November would be a buy. No matter where price is, come November, you should be a buyer. According to the 4-year cycle. So if that's what's playing out here, then maybe that's when Bitcoin builds in support. I don't know. We'll see. What's SpaceX doing? Oh my gosh, this annoys me so bad. Well, it's not that big of a move, but still, it would have definitely been a profit-taking move. That would have been a nice scalpy walpy. The other one, SNDK, I didn't respond to that one because it's doing the exact same thing as MU. They are almost identical in terms of charts. This one is a newer asset as it didn't start trading until 2025, but I still can't be a buyer for long-term accumulation or long-term growth when you're printing a 90 on the RSI. Right? It just does not make sense. Unless I'm scalping the momentum. The pound dollar so far looking good. We are short. I'm short a little bit lower than the white line because I have a spread account on my Forex account. Instead of being fees based, it's based on the spread. So I took the trade when it was here. We'll see what it does. So far, so good. As right there was that retest. That's what allowed us to take the trade. As it retested that level. This is last week's high. That's it. That's it. So if the trend is going to continue, the longer term trend, it should reject here. And if it does, then I could see a larger move. Pound dollar isn't something that I want to hold long term because it's expensive whether you're a buyer or a seller. It's not super expensive, but you do got to pay every day to be short. So if it's sideways at any point, you're not going to be making any money on price depreciation. It'd be time to bail on it. The assets you should hold long term are the ones you get paid to hold long term. Like Euro right now, sellers are being paid. On USD Swissy right now, buyers are being paid. You can check that with your exchange or your brokerage. Look for rollover rates and it'll basically show you. Those are the assets you can swing trade. You can swing trade pound dollar, don't get me wrong, because it's such an aggressive mover. The amount of money that you're paying to hold the trade on a per day basis is minimal compared to what you're making if it's trending, if it's moving at all. Minimal. It'd be no different than what how I've been holding Bitcoin. The funding fees have been kind of taking away from that profit, but not in a major way. But if price depreciates, then obviously that unrealized gain will go bye-bye. Which you're not really seeing a big move take place yet here to the downside. So I would say it's probably coming soon, as the dollar did not make that lower low. And now you're above the high. So likely outcome on the dollar today is upside expansion, keeping with the trend. Higher time frame charts are just better, guys. They're better. Miners having to toss out blocks should be interesting. Yeah, it can go either way. I hope a chain split does not occur. I really do. If it does, Bitcoin may never recover. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Jory Affairs retracted message. Good morning, says Pixel Property. Lunar Entity says VCs and core devs seem to be colluding. I hope node operators win that battle. It's supposed to be that way. The node operators are supposed to be the ones that are in control. But you do have massive corporations involved now. Strategy being one. BlackRock. You also have Goldman Sachs. Like, all the major banks are taking positions on Bitcoin. So big money or institutional finance will have a say in the future, or at least at a bare minimum try to influence those decisions. I'm sure of it. But as of right now, it's safe to say that nodes are in charge. As it's a very small amount of nodes are the ones that brought about BIP 110 in the first place. I mean, I understand why they're doing it. Trust me. I can see the reason why they should do it. And I hope it works out for them and Bitcoin remains solidly intact. Like, that's what my hope is. But at the same time, it's kind of a very bad time to even force a change. You're in the midst of a bear market. Kind of a bad time to do it. The macro backdrop is also kind of bad for that. We're seeing the dollar regain its bullishness here. That's not great for Bitcoin. Excuse me. Sellers are defending the 4-hour bearish engulfing. I would love to see Bitcoin lose the inverse correlation to the dollar. I would love to see that. That would be kind of good if that could happen. It is starting to shake it a little bit on the daily, but the weekly is still not good. Can you have a look at Arrow, please? Absolutely. We're just kind of waiting here. We're short pound dollar. We missed the short on SpaceX, but had we have gotten it, we would be hitting it pretty much, hitting a good lick. Still short Fartcoin. At least it has taken that low out now. So for me, I guess I can defend there as well. Just if it gets back above this, I'll bail on the trade is essentially all I mean. I think you're probably getting ready to see it roll over. But Fartcoin has very little inverse correlation to the dollar. I think if Bitcoin rolls over, Fartcoin probably will. It's a risky short to short it down here. I mean, it's daily demand supply, so I've taken those trades before. If you wanted to short it there, it would just be difficult to mitigate risk on it. But it looks like it's going to give you one more chance at a short side entry here. I see no reason for dollar to continue. I see no reason for dollar not to continue here. Yeah, you have a full-on bullish engulfing candle now. So it looks good for us in our position. So let's go take a look at Arrow. Ooh, almost deleted Bitcoin. It's trying to hold support. The chart is new. It's a new asset. Came live Q4 2025. I don't know what it is. It needs to hold this. So at any point, if it loses this range low right here, that would be really bad. You could watch last week's low if you're looking for bullish positioning, and then maybe get a stop under this low. Right? That would be your entry right there. This thing has very thin liquidity on an intraday basis. I don't know what it is, but I would not want to see it lose these areas. If it does, it could revisit the low end of the range, which is all the way back down into the 1250 area. It doesn't appear like there's much demand up here. Let's go see what analysts are saying about Arrow. Analyst rating is a strong buy. Yeah, there's not many analysts here. There's only 9, so I want to see like 30 or more, as that will give you a more broader picture. But I mean, out of the analysts who have given an opinion to TradingView, they are all bullish. And they are all anticipating higher prices. So I guess right here would be the place to be a buyer on Arrow. If you had a bullish bias, right? Make sure you set a stop somewhere if you do buy it. This is where we would want to see support. For the trend to continue. Yeah, it could go much lower though. And still be range bound. June's low is all the way down at 1587. It's got a lot of bearish. It's not a lot of bearish momentum, I guess. I was going to say it's got a lot of bearish momentum, but it really doesn't. It looks like a lack of demand more than it does like bearish momentum. All right, we got our move on pound dollar. You should probably be taking profits on that. As you're testing yesterday's midpoint, we see this area act as support in a lot of times. All right. So this is a good place to start taking some profits if you got short on the scalp. And you might not have to move your stop to break even yet, but definitely take profits. On intraday scalps on FX, we're generally just looking for like 25, 30 pips. It's a 23 pip move. You can't get too greedy. I like it lower as long as the dollar continues to sustain its rally. It's doing the same thing. It's testing yesterday's midpoint. This is the first place sellers are going to look to sell. That's why price is wiggling here. Right? Because on the very near term, it's a head and shoulders. Shoulder, head, shoulder. Here's your midpoint or your neckline, if you will. So, I mean, I don't think it's going to stop it, but at the bare minimum, it's a place to take profits. Yeah, on Arrow, I would be essentially just, if it breaks down under this wick, I would be not so much wanting to hold it unless it could recover. The daily 50 is kind of an aggressive average to watch. You don't have enough data to even populate a weekly 50 yet. To be honest with you, this chart is sideways. It's not trending. It's trending on the very near term. The last few months have been an uptrend. But prior, going into that, the first 3 months of the year were bearish. So on a yearly basis, this does not look good. That's your yearly open. You see what I'm saying? Like, I could argue that this thing is trending lower on a yearly basis. Last 3 months have seen a recovery. You would want to see that recovery continue. The next potential place that people will be looking to buy will be here at about 1671, and then unfortunately that monthly low would be the last place that that buyers would be defending. Tesla had a big down day last week, but has since reclaimed it. Tesla is very volatile here the last few days. Very volatile. Trying to hold 2025 lows. I mean, the 2025 open, sorry. 2026 open is up here. The Tesla still looks rough on a year-to-date basis. Oof. Yeah, the monthly just started, didn't it? Yeah, this chart's difficult to get. I mean, it's clearly range bound. Yeah, I would definitely want to see moving average support hold on Tesla. It looks okay on the very near term. But last week, man, I don't like that. That looks like a swing high failure. We're still not rolling over on Bitcoin, which I find interesting. Because it's 10:15, so the market's been open for 45 minutes. Right here's your New York session open. You really haven't gone anywhere. You do have an opening range breakdown, but it feels like it's getting ready to cut loose to the downside. I really don't want Bitcoin to become Ethereum. That would be devastating. Yeah, I agree. Not this one, Arrow Dome. Well, I don't know what Arrow Dome is. You said AERO. This one down here on BLEX, yeah, I don't know anything about other world stock markets. I don't trade other world stock markets. This thing has no liquidity. I can't analyze this. These monthly candles are ticks. There's 4 ticks. Maybe 5 ticks on this monthly candle. It is not good. This is probably not what you're wanting either. It's a crypto. Well, then why didn't you say that? Like, can you look at Arrow USD instead of just typing in Arrow? It looks kind of like some other alt. So you've reclaimed the weekly 21. That's a good sign. It's making higher highs and higher lows. You completely taken out the 200 on the daily. That's a good thing. This chart looks good. It looks good. As long as it can continue to do this, it looks good. I wouldn't be a seller here. Like, I mean, the bulls are in control of the near-term momentum and order flow, so I wouldn't love the idea of shorting this asset. Now, with that being said, where would I buy it? Probably not up here. Yeah, I would not be buying it up here because I would be too worried about it just rolling over and coming back to the monthly open for a retest. So maybe I could watch like 47 cents if it gets back down there. To be honest with you, if I was going to be interested in buying it, I would have been watching it through here. Right? This is where we would have been looking to position ourselves. We would have been seeing that daily 21 clearly acting like support. So we probably would have tried to get our longs down there around that. Because that's generally what we look for. We look for the breakout above the 21 and a retest of it. And if it can hold, we become buyers. And that's 5-6 days of holding. Yeah, I would have been very interested in it then. Now I can't do anything. I gotta wait for that to occur again. It's not really breaking out. That's concerning. When you're liquidating past old swing highs, you're not really seeing a breakout. So at least that's where the sellers are trying to pick it up at. But it does look like, at least for the last 3-4 months, you've seen sell side exhaustion. Now that doesn't mean the sellers won't ever come back. You're printing bearish divergence here on the daily. There's no divergence on the weekly. No divergence on the 3-day. But there is clear divergence here. Now with that being said, that divergence would be priced out if you continue to rip to the upside. You haven't really started a short squeeze yet. But it looks good. It looks like the buyers are trying to pick up higher lows. That's what you want to see. That's what you want to see. Let me get Tasty Trade going over here. Gotta put some capital to work. Yeah, it looks fine. I think it's fine. Fartcoin also refusing to break down. If it does, it's probably going to soon. If it does, if they can't get it back above the weekly open, they might have some problems here. Bitcoin will make a fresh day low. So we saw positive inflows July the 2nd, July the 6th. That's pretty good. Yeah, same data. So finally we're seeing slight inflows. It's not big inflows, but it's good. It's good. Anything above 250 is good. So we're finally starting to see some positive volumes on Bitcoin. It's good. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't see it. I got it. What's Fartcoin doing? Well, it's currently in price discovery and it's testing the weekly open. It's a big level. As you can see, this is a 5-minute chart and there's not much volume on Fartcoin anymore. People just are not as interested in this as they used to be, clearly. So, yeah. But when it moves, it does move pretty damn good. So yesterday I was short because of the technical setup. The news did help give us a move lower to where I should have taken profits, but that's when the cable guys showed up. So it didn't fill my take profit order. My take profit order was setting at 1570. So it stopped short 2 ticks of filling that. But I wasn't in my office. If I was in my office, I would have been watching these higher lows. I would have moved the take profit up to get filled. But once that news came, oh, this isn't even yesterday. This is over here is where I'm talking about. Right in here. So it wasn't at 1570. 17 maybe. I know I didn't get filled and I was upset because clearly it got stopped out. So the sellers have to defend this area on Fartcoin. If price gets back above that, I wouldn't be short anymore. I would leave it alone. But each minute that goes by, we're not quite there yet. There's an hour and 31 minutes left on this candle. But once you get past that hour to where there's only 1 hour left, that's when the probabilities start to work more for whoever has the candle. Because each minute that goes by starts to look worse and worse, right? So yeah, it's looking like the sellers are failing here. It's looking like the sell side is failing. They are not getting downside continuation. This is exactly what we saw yesterday, right before it took off to the upside. You have the minutes tomorrow, FOMC minutes. That could be what's going on here with the dollar. Why the dollar's been so choppy the last couple of days. Investors are probably waiting on this. I don't think anything's going to come from it. I don't think they're going to say anything. There's not going to be a press conference. It's just going to release the minutes. Depending on what it says in that doc will obviously dictate order flow. But I don't see them changing. And then CPI, which will be a big data point, should be the week after. Yeah, core inflation comes out Tuesday, July 14. That will be the next big data print to watch. We don't have any big data point to watch this week, other than the minutes tomorrow. And that will happen at 2 o'clock. So, I don't know. Just very choppy. I don't think the sellers are going to do enough here to like stop the daily advance. But we'll see. We'll see if they are, if they can. Very slow, very boring trading. SpaceX was the only one that gave you a nice move that happened rather quickly. Just big, beautiful trending move lower. That's basically what's been happening for the last several days. Bam, bam, and then today, bam. All three of those fantastic trading opportunities. Yesterday wasn't easy because yesterday was above the level that I was watching. Way above it. So when you get that far above that level, it becomes virtually impossible to put on a trade. Because the way liquidity works in this market, liquidity sets above every prior swing high and every swing low. So if you break out above a liquidation point and you're trading above that liquidation point, then the next liquidation point becomes a target. So when you're in the middle of a liquidation point like this, it's impossible for me to put on a position. But this morning would have been a very easy trade to make. I just missed it because my antenna took a dump. I restart. No bueno. Yeah. So until we get like clarification on the dollar, we may not see Farcoin give us anything. As long as it's above this price, it's objectively up on the week. I'm not quite sure what you mean, what Farcoin doing. I can't tell you what it's going to do. What it is doing is it's in price discovery. Very choppy. Even Pingu's not seeing any downside continuation. The sellers are the aggressors. There's like, this isn't enough volume to even make a determination as to what I would anticipate price doing. Very choppy, very sideways. Bonk was one that we should have shorted in hindsight because yesterday it did break down. You're not seeing a whole lot of continuation today, though. You're not seeing any continuation today. because that's yesterday's low. But yeah, Bitcoin's like kind of refusing to put in that lower low. That's kind of a good sign for longs. Risk markets are bearish today. S&P 500 down. Kind of curious to see Bitcoin refusing to break down. Oh, there it goes. Never mind. It literally is starting now. Alrighty. So probably take profits on Farcoin once it starts to roll. Let me get that ready. Let me put this on up here. We want to do just tag this and it brings up the partial. That's so awesome. I can't believe I never tried that before. %. That means I would still have a $330 position short to catch any downside continuation. And it's almost there already. A fresh day low. Ooh, that's so... I need to push it up a little bit more, but that will affect it. Let's see what it says. Doesn't tell me. $15.75. It would still be good enough. All right, so this is an issue because Bitcoin just did the liquidation. So like I said earlier, if it fails to trend under this, then the sellers might be out of luck. But with everything that we're seeing everywhere else, I mean, well, it's still too early to make that determination because the dollar is not breaking out here. It's failing to break out. So if the dollar fails to continue the breakout, which it is, right? You're in this range. This is your current trading range. If it fails to break out above this price, then Bitcoin might fail to put in a trending move lower. So this would be the take profit on Bitcoin based on the current price action structure on the dollar. So I might need to move that take profit up even higher on Farcoin. And then if it gives us a trending move lower, there will still be a sizable position size open to where if you get a large move, like if it trends lower all week long, that trade will end up making quite a bit of money. But there will be no risk on the table for it. It'll just be unrealized gains, which I'm okay to lose. It's my money I hate losing. That's the money I hate giving up. I don't mind giving up money that isn't mine. All right. We'll give it a few more minutes here to see what it wants to do. Let's go take a look at this. So first one, MO. So it has very little bullish momentum here, potentially breaking out of a range. How many shares? I don't remember. Oof, and I don't have Grok on anymore because I had to restart. Damn it. I didn't do this today. This is completely wrong. All right. Let's see if he can remember, or it can remember. It doesn't. I don't think it has a clue what I'm talking about. Doesn't have a clue. So obviously from the last conversation we had, Duke Ball. Nope. It doesn't know. Okay. The word totally left my brain. Damn it. All right. MOVZVICI. Johnson & Johnson is a fresh all-time high breakout. KO. What's Procter & Gamble look like? It's a fresh range breakout. That looks okay. This one is a little bit more aggressive. Meaning it's a bigger mover. So I'll leave this one out. ARCC. This is a slow mover. Share count. Let's let him do his thing first. It's not a him, it's an it. We have 100K to allocate. We want to be able to generate income from dividend payments as well as price appreciation. The assets in question: MOB, ZBG, KO, ARCC, and like 5% in SCRC. Well, there is leverage on this portfolio. So there is what we're looking to allocate. 100 G's. So first one's gonna have to be MO. The tobacco company. All right, let's see what Grokky says. For your $100,000 sleep well allocation focused on dividend income plus price appreciation, here's a practical, diversified recommendation using the assets you mentioned: Altria, Verizon, Vici Properties, Coca-Cola, and Ares Capital. As you can see, the funds are going to be dispersed among a broad range of asset classes, right? Different stuff. We don't want to put it all in one category. We got tobacco, we've got communications, we've got properties, we've got Coca-Cola, and then obviously the wild card, STRC. These are mostly mature cash flow strong businesses with attractive yields. They fit a conservative sleep well approach: stable or growing dividends, defensive sector, staples, telecom, gaming, REIT, BDC, lending, plus a high yield preferred for income boost. The mix balances income, higher yield names with appropriate appreciation potential, Coke's brand strength, and modest growth, plus total return from others. So this diversified across sectors while using, okay, yeah. 20%, beautiful. There he gives us right there the shares to buy: tobacco giant with a long dividend history. Now here's my thing. I don't know if I like tobacco long term. There are so many different things that people can get nicotine from now, so we are seeing a health, like more like younger generations are a lot more okay with being, health oriented than say my generation. Reliable telecom cash flows. Okay, so basically purchase 271 shares of MO literally at the high of day, which I always love buying the high of day. All right, so we want to buy I guess we're gonna have to go to the trade tab and then go to grid and then pull them up that way. All right, MO. Yeah, that's the way we're gonna have to do it. Okay. We want to close this and we want to buy 271 shares. Buy to open. That limit 73.95. Send. Okay, next VZ. We want to buy 461 shares. Buy to open. Good. I need to set stops. So I should probably do that moving forward, and then I'll go back in later and put the stops in for those first two. VICI. Let's analyze VICI real quick on the chart. Long term at range. It's literally at range support. So this is a good place to be a buyer. 27.38. How many shares? $548. Let's make sure he's got those percentages. Yeah, looks good. Okay. Good. Make sure it. 548 shares. That's where I'm buying. I want to set stop. Set bracket order right there. I don't want to close in profit. So, yeah, I definitely don't want to do this. I'll just do it later. I'm not really worried about it. Okay, and then KO, Coca-Cola. $234 shares. $234 shares. Send. ARCC. $10.77. We're buying 1,000 shares of this ARCC. You look at its chart real quick. This is also at range support. Ish. Not quite there, but almost there. So we'll send it. Gone, sent, and then STRC was the last one. The most riskiest one, 57 shares. They're not gonna do much, but it's super risky. Bitcoin is not at support yet. So far, so good. It may have found support already, but only time will tell. So there we go. $100,000 allocated. Beautiful. Let me make sure real quick that they're all filled here. MO, check. VZ, check. VICI, check. KO, check. ARCC, check. STRC, check. All right, perfect. Beautiful. And then this is the positions. They're filled, ready to go. So that NVIDIA trade is a trade that I put on a long time ago when Michael Berry said that NVIDIA was going to roll over the first time. This thing has been open for a long time. Where's the days? Days open, 218. That trade is not working out, but the max loss on that was like $60. I mean, it can expire worthless for all I care. And this was a trade that I also set a long time ago. Completely forgot about it. It's obviously going to expire worthless. So those two, fine. It's good. These other are shares. Those two are options. So I'm just going to leave this open for the rest of the year, see how it does. I will move stuff around. Obviously, there will be stops. I'm going to set stops on all of them. I don't know, maybe at like a 3% loss or whatever. I'll figure all that out later and then go in and set those stops, you know, and then, yeah, see what happens with it long term. Dividend kings, they're not real dividend kings, but it's a portfolio that should appreciate over time. Obviously, some were going to be losers and some are going to be winners. I ran this strategy back for 2025, and obviously for 2025 coming into 2026, MO was a big winner there. As you can see from January 2024, this thing has been on an absolute tear straight to the upside. So this one right here may fall some, as it is in the top of the top of the range. Now, if it breaks out above this is a big, what looks like a rounding bottom formation. So if it were to break out, it could ultimately, you know, put in a decent breakout move. But I mean, I'm not anticipating that, but we'll see what happens long term. This is mostly for the dividend capture, to be a little bit risk averse. All right, and as you can see, Bitcoin has completely rejected the lows. Like I said, the dollar was literally refusing to continue its breakout, which is typical. Remember, that happens most of the time. You don't get breakouts and breakdowns. People always look for that, and that's what literally happens less often. So that means the Fartcoin short did not fill me on take profits, and in fact, it's I'm about to close it. So once again, completely fumbled the Fartcoin trade. 2 days in a row of fumble. I can go ahead and close the Fartcoin trade, and it's going to be profitable. It's not a loss, so that's good. But it was an epic fumble nonetheless. An epic fumble. I'm not going to close it right yet, as I want to see what it does here. This is where the sellers must defend. If they don't defend here, then it's over. They got to defend here, because right here, you become a bullish engulfing candle. And there's 1 hour left on the close of this candle. So the closer you get to the close, obviously the probabilities get worse and worse as time goes on. So if it's at any point a bullish engulfing with a very small amount of time left, chances are it's going higher. It's not a short. This will be 3 4-hour sessions in a row where the sellers got the breakdown below the weekly open, and 3 4-hour sessions in a row they failed. And this is with aggressive sellers. So this will be the last time that I try to short Fartcoin this week. In fact, I would arguably say that this might be a long if we retest 4-hour support moving forward and hold. Right? But that depends on how this candle closes, obviously. If this candle closes as a bearish engulfing and under the lows, then I leave the short on, yada, yada. If it closes as a bullish engulfing, then retests into this area would be buyable opportunities. And I would anticipate a breakout above this eventually this week, because that is your week high on Fartcoin. The sellers are more aggressive than the buyers, and price is literally saying to those sellers, you are wrong. Yeah, it looks like it wants to go higher. So this is very confusing price action, because last week on the dollar, we had the pullback. So this week on the dollar, we should be seeing trend advancement. We're not. The trend is up. So obviously this is Tuesday. Like Tuesday, you should be advancing this range in one direction or the other. It's literally failing to advance it higher. Which leads me to believe that I guess investors are wanting to see what the FOM minutes or the FOMC minutes reveal tomorrow. Yeah, things are not looking so great for Bitcoin shorts based on dollar longs. Okie dokie. Oh, nobody has got anything to say. Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be like that. You're gonna have days like that, my man. This is why you cannot risk more money than you are willing to lose ever. This is why we mitigate risk, right? We lost $30 on the trade earlier this morning. So, I mean, closing it with a small gain will cover that loss, and that's it. Today will be a wash. It'll just be a wash. You have those days. Please, please, please do not ever try to get rich doing this on one trade. You're going to lose it. It's going to go bye-bye. There is literally no way to predict what price will do. There's no such indicator. None. They do not exist. But that's what everybody tries to do. This is why retail fails at trading. Broadly speaking. I'm not saying that you fail. I'm saying broadly speaking. Retail as a whole. So far this week, I'm not doing great. So far this week, my account is down. I mean, it's because of the unrealized trade on Bitcoin. If I close that trade, obviously the account goes up. But for everything that's been realized this week so far has been losses. But you can see there's $487 of unrealized gains there on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin were to break out this week and trend up, then clearly this trade will cover the weekly losses, but still. It becomes annoying when you set up a trade. One day it doesn't work when it should, clearly. I mean, not the indicators all pointed to that. And then Michael Saylor drops his big news bomb, right? I wish that man would just shut up. He is literally annoying the markets. I wish he would just shut his mouth. That would be the best thing for Bitcoin. If Michael Saylor would fade into the background and shut up. Quit going on every podcast every day talking shit. Every time you post a message on the internet, you get tore up in the comment section. Like, read the room, bro. You know what I mean? Had he not dropped that news yesterday, I honestly believe Fartcoin works. But like I said, it did work. I fumbled the execution. So that's my fault, not the strategy's fault. The strategy put me in the position. I fumbled the taking profits portion of that. and kind of fumbled that again today, right? This is why this is a very good learning opportunity. This is why we usually don't try to set our take profits outside of the range, because this happens all of the time, where you literally get so close to filling your entry and then it backs off. So generally speaking, I mean, there's no way for me to know that price was going to turn around there. That's why I moved it, because the first time I set it, it was down below that wick. Then I adjusted it to where it would be just shy of that wick, and still does not fill me. That's 2 days in a row. I had 2 very profitable trades that I fumbled. Gotta love it. It's trading. It's trading. You have good weeks, you have bad weeks. The good weeks outweigh the bad weeks, so obviously. The pound trade also reversed and came all the way back up and retested the level at which I'm still okay holding the short, but you have a complete 4-hour change of trend here. So generally, when I'm looking for a short side continuation, I want to see this area hold as resistance. I generally want to see a range built in just above resistance, which we did right here. It was the failed continuation above last week's high that made me look for the short once again. But obviously, as of right now, the chart says this is going higher, probably. So, I mean, not an A+ setup. But this is also why we take profits always. If you don't, or if you forget to, or just don't get filled, chances are, because of this chaotic, emotional price action, it's gonna go right back against you. That is like always happening. But you can see nice trending move lower. Right here's the low. So you get that nice breakout and then even a nice push. And then right back into your face. Yep. This is why this happens so often. Nobody knows what price will do, but people still always act like they do. They act like they know exactly what. I knew it all along. No, you don't. No, you don't. The macro backdrop for the dollar is up. Will it go up every single day? No. No, it's not going to go up every single day. That's the issue. That's the issue. It hasn't been going up now for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days. These 2 days it did go up, but then it was bleh, right back down. But ultimately, the more time that goes by, I mean, the dollar hasn't rolled over or anything. There's no guarantee the fart trade doesn't work out later on today. Like I said, we have a clear and obvious level to watch. As long as price is under it, there's no reason to fret. The price is above it, that's a problem. Especially as time goes on. It becomes a major issue. This 4-hour candle closes at noon. So every 5-minute candle from here on out that isn't putting in fresh lows stinks for sellers. Bitcoin's level, it's already above. So now if you look at Bitcoin, it's a bullish engulfing candle with 50 minutes until the close. That kind of looks good. You're also above the weekly VWAP here. So that also looks good. You're not above the weekly open yet, but it looks like it probably will be eventually. In terms of high and lows for the weekly range, you made a weekly low and then immediately made a fresh weekly high. And so far, this is a higher low. So as of right now, it does look like the sellers are wrong. They may not be later on, but as of right now, they are. Could this be a trap to get those last remaining bulls off sides before then dumping? Yeah, it could be, but for that to happen, you're going to need to see the dollar break out. It's got to break out above this and start trending. If that happens, I think the sells will be fine. So don't freak out just yet. Don't get emotional. Just yet. It doesn't look good. It's not over just yet. It probably will be, though. I mean, this looks like it wants to smoke that high right there. There's no way of putting any probabilities on that. Like, what's it more likely to do? It is definitely closer to this high than it is this low. And with the remaining time left on this candle, you better start putting in some big moving lower candles really quickly, or you're going to close as a bullish engulfing. If it closes as a bearish engulfing, but as a doji, that still won't look good either. This candle, in order to look like downside continuation, needs to close under this low. Needs to. Otherwise, it's just a doji. No continuation in either direction. But yeah, doesn't look great. You'll have those days. You get that sometimes on the big jobs. It is what it is. That's all you can do. All right. Any other questions? Any other assets that you guys want to look at? Do you see something that is trending? Is there something that we should be trading right now that I am unaware of? If you have a setup, drop it in the chat. I'll go take a look at it. If it's a valid setup, we'll trade it. Dollar is or pound is pushing kind of aggressively here. Or at least it is backing off of that level. It doesn't mean it'll finish the day like that, but at least we're seeing a defensive posture. Unfortunately, the pound is it makes up a very small portion of the DXY basket. We need the DXY. It would be a lot easier to read the chart as a chartist, as a price analyst. It would be much easier to read if it's above 197. It just, when it's range bound and inside, it's impossible to read. What is that music? Garbage is what it was. All right. It doesn't appear that you guys have any more comments, so I'm just gonna look here. We got a few more minutes left. Let's see what the dollar does here in the next 10-15 minutes, and then we'll wrap it up. Because it's not over yet for the sellers. It just might be. They're still aggressive. I mean, to be fair, they even put in trending aggression. So, to be honest with you, this up move seems a lot more violent than the volume says it should be. But we got the same thing yesterday. It doesn't really matter what the volume says. Price matters. Price is the arbiter of winners and losers in this game. And price is definitely showing an inability to go lower. So that just kind of tells me that there's obviously a big iceberg order down here absorbing the selling. That's the reason price is not agreeing with the deltas, because there's a hidden buy order down here. And whenever price gets lower or low or into the lows, that big buyer comes in and props the bid. So even though you have people hitting market sell, market sell, market sell, he's just basically supporting it. Every sell that comes through, they're buying. That's why price isn't trending down. Iceberg. People can hide their orders, and that tricks these indicators. That's why I said if it doesn't break down, you definitely want to get out of it, because a big spike is coming potentially. If he's absorbing all that selling pressure, he's probably going to get a move higher. The sellers have been firmly trying to kill this thing all week since Sunday. And they have been unsuccessful. So I don't want to jump out just yet, but I'm not loving it. I can promise you that. Probably should have just jumped out of the short there to be on the safe side. Because this doesn't feel good. This is what it did yesterday. And yesterday it ended up ripping to the upside. It's fairly easy for big money to manipulate very thin products like this. There's only been 2,500,000 contracts traded. That sounds like a lot, but not when the contracts, not when you got a sub penny or a sub, you know, this asset is 16 cents. This is why I kind of don't like trading things that have less than 1 million. Because I could manipulate the price if I wanted to on those light traded assets. I don't like, I would never try that, but I'm small money. I small fry in this game. Yeah, it's looking more and more like we should probably be scooping up the lows. I don't want to do that just yet, but today's the last day that I'm going to try the short on Farcoin. I was trying to buy Pingu literally over the weekend, and I ate 2 stops on it because it was the exact opposite. It was set up for the buy, for the long, and I fumbled those trades as well. I didn't take profits on them because I was anticipating the breakout, and here it is. That's literally Saturday's lows. We're right back into them. So I mean, this is what sideways price action is. It's what happens. Should definitely take profits. Should be up this week. It's my fault. But my account should have 4 successful trade entries and exits. 300, 300, 300, 300. There should be at least $1,200 to the good this week. But you have good weeks, you have bad weeks. All traders do. It's not just me. Yeah, Bitcoin looks like it's trying to break out. Even with strong dollar, so that's kind of good. As long as it doesn't roll over and puke later. If it pukes later, that would not look good. As long as it can maintain strength with dollar strength, I think that would be a very good signal for Bitcoin bulls. And that's kind of what you have right now. Even though there's a strong inverse correlation. So that could mean that the dollar isn't going to break out too, though. That could mean that the dollar is just going to fade the highs. $11.22. Farcoin isn't making lower lows. So I'm going to bail on this idea in the next 10 minutes tops. It can't even make 1 minute lower lows. Like, the issue with Farcoin is it does this. It can look good, or it can look like maybe there's still a chance, and then 3 minutes later it'll be, 7% higher. Well, it'd be 3%, 2% higher, not 7. But you get what I'm saying. It can do that quick. Very thin liquidity, man. So thin. Yeah, POC is not sitting good for sellers, is it? We want to see this flipped for selling. We want to see it going this way with the POC up here. Just haven't gotten good setups lately. Not perfect ones anyways. Let's check session volume profile on Farcoin. Session volume, what is this? Session volume profile is irrelevant on Farcoin. It's literally in the middle of the range. There's no read here. I mean, because price is above it, one could argue that there's more strength than weakness. I would probably concur with that. But, I mean, it's a small inside range day. Yesterday, this POC migrated 3 times on Farcoin. It was at the highs, then it shifted to the lows, then the middle, and then late session, after it traded sideways from 1 o'clock to close, retail tried to short it, but they made money on that trade, to be fair, if they took profits. So if they were able to get out, if they shorted the highs and were able to get out there, they made money. That was a 6% move. So, I mean, even though it's thin liquidity, you're still getting very tradable moves inside the daily ranges. It doesn't always look like this. You can see yesterday it looked a lot better. Today it's thin. Very thin. Like nobody's trading. Gives that iceberg an edge. I see so many people in the Discord and on X that rely too heavily on lagging indicators. I mean, I rely heavily on indicators too. If I don't have a sell signal, I'm not taking the trade. But this is where you're in a scenario like anytime that we see a discrepancy or a divergence or something like that, which we've clearly got here. You clearly have a divergence. Price is not making lower lows. And the indicator has literally been aggressively selling. So it's just not a perfect setup. So, I mean, yeah, you have to use indicators for signal. You can't just look, I mean, you can look at price, but price alone isn't going to tell you. It can. I agree with what you're saying, but I also would agree with people using indicators to help them mitigate risk. The thing is you're not going to be right on every trade, regardless what you're watching. So it doesn't really matter. You can have the best strategy on planet Earth. You're still not going to win every trade. You can be implementing a strategy that gives you an 85% win rate. We win a lot of trades. We lose a lot of them too, but the ones that we win in a big way. Like, I go into the end of the week red sometimes by like literally minus $150, right? So I have a losing week and I'm down $150, $200. Then the next week I'm up $3,000. You know what I mean? So it's like, as long as you're doing that consistently, things are going to be good, bro. Fartcoin isn't working out for us today, but we may nail a trade tomorrow that pays us $1,000, $2,000. Like, you never know. But yeah, it's being difficult to read this week. But so is the dollar. It's literally an inside day. Inside days, not easy to read. You're trading inside yesterday's range. It means we were already here yesterday. We're in the same place, doing the same thing. Nothing. All right, almost about to bail on Fartcoin. Bitcoin makes that higher high, I'm dipping. I'm done. Yeah, DXY is literally reversing. Whole lot of nothing here. Yesterday we had a whole lot of nothing at the very beginning of the session. It wasn't until it's 11:30 now, right? Right now we're getting ready to wrap the stream up. That's when you got the breakdown on the dollar. 11:30. So literally at the end of our live stream session, the dollar finally broke down. Finally started making lower highs and lower lows. And then it pretty much trended down for the rest of the day. So you're probably going to get the same scenario here, right? It spends all morning chopping this range apart. But then if it cuts loose to the upside or to the downside, then you probably get your trending move late session. It's not a guaranteed loss yet. It's just, I'm not feeling it anymore. Especially on Farcoin, because Farcoin is not trading inversely correlated to the dollar. So if I pull this up, let me see. I already have it here. See, it's heading that way, but it's closer to 0 than it is 1, right? It's 39. 0 means not correlated. 1 means inversely correlated. So this literally means it doesn't matter what the dollar does. Fartcoin's doing its own thing right now. There's a 30-minute close above. Could be a trap, but this candle has to drop. And it has to drop now. Yeah, I don't want to see it spend 3 minutes sideways. I want to see it dropping every minute. Because it would have to take that low out at a bare minimum. This thing going higher. I've been in so many range expansion days. This has got to start dropping soon. If it doesn't, it's not working. Just a fumbled execution. Fumbled it. The best traders in the world preach clean, simple, objective charts with clear levels to mitigate risk. That's the only thing any of us can do, really. We have reasons for entrance. We have reasons for exits. Yep. I get dizzy looking at some people's charts. So much clutter. My charts can get cluttered because I generally will forget about the stuff that's on it because I'm usually only looking at price. Once I've seen where this is, where the high and low is, then I don't care about the rest of it, right? I'm not seeing any large volume nodes. Your large volume clusters right here in the middle of the range. So this is no longer needed, right? For the rest of the day. This indicator right here, kind of telling the story. The week open, kind of telling the story. Price is drifting. It's unable to make lower lows. If it starts to tear ass to the downside in the next couple of minutes, then maybe there's a chance. But if it's going to grind sideways like this, you're going to close as a bullish engulfing. There's 25 minutes left. So every minute almost from here needs a close, an open, a lower low, next candle, open, lower low, next candle. You see what I'm saying? It like almost has to do that for it to close as a bearish engulfing. So because it isn't, it's over. Literally could flip a coin and mitigate risk. You can, they've done it. People have done it. It's been recorded and it's in the books as proof. They literally had a monkey pick the stocks. The humans did the risk management and the portfolio made money. Yep. People don't like to hear that because it infers that they're stupid. It's not. It's just people trade too much with emotion. If they can get rid of that, they're trying to change their life literally in one trade. They lost $50,000 last week, so today they're trying to make that $50,000 back. And then they get in that never-ending loop, and that's what ruins them long-term as traders or investors even. Price is definitely impossible to predict. 100%. Pretty hilarious. Also, if you have time for a good read, The Best Loser by Tom. I don't know that guy. I don't read many books. I read a lot of articles and stuff, but not many books. I pretty much got it already under control. I mean, I don't see that I would ever, as long as I don't do anything stupid and go on a major spending spree or gamble all my money away, I don't think I'll ever spend the money that I have. So, 15 years of trading, long time. And like I said, nailed a couple really, really big wins. So, pretty much set. But if you haven't read a book, or if you're still a struggling trader, maybe pick that book up. Yeah, it is totally in your heads. It's in your head. It's your head. You're competing against yourself. I mean, we're competing against the richest, smartest people on the planet. But most people would be better off if they weren't competing with themselves. But at this point in time, I almost have to think that if you've been trading for more than 6 months, you have to know that already. You know what I mean? You have to know that already. I do still see younger traders on, which I don't watch TikTok, but they upload the videos on YouTube also. But I mean, they're using smart money concepts and already proven to be like, or at least the guy who invented all that stuff can't win a trading competition. He can't do anything. Like, he can't even, it's not even about winning it. He can't even finish it with a green P&L. That's the thing. You have to finish it with a profit. You don't have to win it. Just finish it in the green. Even if you don't win, you at least prove the concepts. I don't think anybody's proven that stuff, but yet I see so many young folks trading it and talking about it, promoting it. Anything works. Everything works. Just not every day. Everything works in trading, just not every day. Live by that and you will be fine. Sometimes we're wrong. We have to admit it when we're wrong and ease off the gas pedal. If the trade isn't working, don't continue to put it on, things like that. Over trading, revenge trading. These are the things that people lose money with. I think most people would be fine if they just bought and hold. Like buy and hold. Look at your portfolio maybe once a year. Just buy something that trends up. Don't buy something that trends down. Yeah, I think the dollar just isn't giving any clear direction here. This is going to be a very sideways, choppy day again, which we should be used to at this point. I mean, the dollar did just break out of a range, but has so far not done anything about it. This will be week number 2 of no continuation, no expansion, no nothing. The dollar does this. Here's a 3-week period of range bound. Here's a very long time of range bound. Here's a 3-4 week period of range bound. It's nice when you get these little bursts or bouts of trend. That's why I was kind of looking for this week to be the expansion. But that usually isn't what happens. The dollar is probably still pulling back. The weekly is good. So your daily is just pulling back. So looking for longs here could be wrong. This thing might want to drop back down to 50, which would give you a single expansion lower, would probably put you there. And then that's when we'll see what happens down there. But if it happens, hasn't happened yet. It does have support. This is why I did take the short on pound. Because if support does hold here and the dollar does expand, then looking for that rejection on pound still may work out. Could just take a couple days, right? At least it's not above this. If it's above that, then we're wrong. This looks like we will be wrong tomorrow. If today closes like this with this range, maybe you get the expansion breakout tomorrow. So I would be stopped out in that case. And that's fine. That's fine. Wait for exhaustion. SPCX, it's annoying, but it's been missed every single time without fail. We've had this thing on watch. Yesterday we couldn't trade it. Today we could. And boom, it dumped. Sucks. It is what it is. I think you're going to see a larger breakdown on this. I could be wrong, but it's coming. It's coming soon. So they got a nice bounce out of there a couple weeks ago. Last week, a couple up days, then rejection. All-time lows on this is 147.13. All-time lows on SPCX alone, 146. 147.11. This is monthly support or the last month's open. It's not the monthly open, but just where the thing opened. So until you're closing candles under that, it's going to be support. You haven't been able to successfully close a candle under that yet. It's just wicks. This could end up being a wick too. So you're going to have to break and close under, and then you're going to need to see continuation. If that happens, who knows how low it goes. So if you own SpaceX since the open, you should be a little bit concerned. Or at a bare minimum, you should have a stop loss. I think most analysts that look at earnings and things like that, like the things that matters to stocks, they have put like a $60 target on this. That's all the way down here. Is it possible? Yeah, if it breaks down, any price is possible. It hasn't broken down yet. It's not the best short setup down here now, but today would have been a decent short setup. It looks rough. S&P 500 is down today too. But no continuation yet, so not that bad. It does look like a failure so far. So you may trade inside of this range for a little while on the S&P 500. You may not. I don't have any levels I give up on giving them because TradingView deleted them all. I've been putting... This is the wrong chart. I've been holding these levels for years. And they deleted them all. Literally all of them except last week's range. That's so disheartening. Because I've been putting these red, green, and blue lines on this chart for years. All of this was covered. Just watching the pricing of the weekly expected ranges. To see that TradingView deleted them, it killed me. You bastards. It's probably an error or something, but it is what it is. So I don't have this week's expected range. I don't know where it would be. But it seems to be holding support. Daily is bouncing off the 21. So I wouldn't be super bearish on this. It's wedging up, so a breakout could happen in either direction. Tesla's chopping. What's Nvidia doing today? This week? Nothing yet. So it's at the high of day, but when you look at the daily, it looks like it's like, what is going on with this? This is the wrong color. Oh, is it blue because it's under yesterday's close? Is that what's going on? I bet that's what's going on. I need to fix that. I do not like that at all. Yeah, it says it's down 0.74%. That's why it's blue. This candle should be white. Shouldn't be a blue candle. The candle itself is up. I don't know why it's doing this. It must be a setting somewhere. It will probably find resistance there. But I don't know. Yearly opening range. That's a big level. People will buy that. All right, so Farcoin just kept ripping. I'm out of this thing. It's done. It's closing as a bullish 4-hour engulfing. 10 minutes left on this close. I do not think that it'll be down here by then. I guess anything is possible. I just wouldn't put it in the realm of probable. All right. So bail on that. Bitcoin breaking out here above that prior high. It's not a fresh daily high, but it is a big level. You will probably make a fresh daily high. That trade is cooking with grease as long as Bitcoin is moving up. There's $600 worth of unrealized P&L on that. So as long as this thing stays above the weekly open, I'm going to leave that trade open that long from last week. The realized gains I took on it last week was for last week. I left it sizable on purpose. I wanted it to, if it expanded, continued in expansion this week, I wanted to be long. Yesterday was a very strange day. Today is too. I'm not even gonna lie. This thing should be getting nuked based on Michael Saylor selling. The selling pressure is just exhausted. I don't know. It's what it seems like anyways. Sellers will sell here. I wouldn't. I'm done for the day. I'm not going to be opening any new positions because I clearly do not have a good directional bias on the dollar. Or it doesn't matter right now. I mean, I am long the dollar, so those positions are still being paid. But in terms of like this week's expansion, I don't have a good call on it. I figured we would have been trending higher already today. I thought the weekly low was in. It is moving to the upside, so your shorts might not be done yet. I wouldn't trust them. Fartcoin looks like it's about to rip. Pingu even still holding support. Last time it held support for this amount of time, it did get an upside break. We'll see what the dollar does late session. All right. Plus 10% kiss ass points for the fish. Yep. A good brown nosing is okay every now and then. All right. If you have time. Oh, I read that. Base of the book is to cut your losses short immediately. Yeah, I mean, I've cut so many losses that I wish I wouldn't have. Well, wait, no, let me rephrase that. Yeah, cutting your losses quick, definitely a good thing. Sometimes, though, getting out of a trade too quickly will also hurt. But yeah, definitely cut losses. I don't like setting in a losing position. My stop loss on Fartcoin is literally just above the entry. If it goes just a little bit higher, I'm going to be out. I'm not going to close it, I guess. I'll leave it open because the dollar is trying to make an advance. But it doesn't seem to be mattering over here. As this thing is still making upside expansion 5-minute candles right now. Like you just made a higher high, higher close. It is currently trending up. But there's always that chance that you get just a nasty downside break, right? I'll let the stop get triggered, but I'm pretty sure it will happen. And my partial is still sitting in the exact same spot, just right above this wick low. So if it hits 1575, I will be filled on that take profit. And then stop loss is 1649. Right there. That almost got it. That just about got it. We're even seeing the pound slowly start to roll over ever so slightly. So it may give you another chance to take profits. If it does, take them. Take them. All right, you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. I'm just going over the last couple of comments here real quick. I don't know about Sailor selling, but being bearish, it was a bullish signal in 2022. I don't think it's ultimately bearish. He has to do that. If he gets, like, ultimately, if what he's doing works in the long term, it will be extremely bullish because he's trying to be put into the exchanges, like into the, not exchanges, but into the index. If he gets into the NASDAQ or the S&P again, his company will benefit from exchange flows because those indexes are, they constantly receive inflows over time, always, based on how, you know, retirement accounts work in the US. Every payday, more money gets dispersed into those ETF or into those indexes. So his stock would greatly benefit from those flows. And then also, if the rating agency, so right now they have STRC rated as junk, right? As junk. But if he could get a better rating, that would also, STRC would benefit from more flows. And then the buying Bitcoin machine it still works. He can still buy Bitcoin, right? So he has to sell to do that stuff. The first sell was extremely bearish. When I say that it's bearish, I just mean emotionally speaking. That's why yesterday the market went up on the news. It went down on the news to stop out early longs, but ultimately it floated up all day because the emotional toll was taken. Everybody saw that tweet. They jumped into the sell side trades. Like, that's what essentially allowed price to grind higher all day. Those sellers getting stopped out. I mean, it is what it is. Ultimately, long term, it is bullish. Yes. They probably held him underwater until he had to, punishing. So he's not selling because he has to sell either. They have 2 years of cash to pay dividends. They sold $200 million worth of Bitcoin. They own $60 billion worth of Bitcoin. To put it into perspective, it would be like you receiving a paycheck and going and buying a Coke at the gas station. And then someone like me saying, oh, you just bought a Coca-Cola with your paycheck. You're broke. You had to buy that Coke. It's like, it's stupid. It makes no sense. He sold a very minuscule portion of what he owns. He'll buy more than that on the next round of buying. Maybe not more. I mean, he sold what, 3,600 Bitcoin? He typically buys 1,000 at a whack. He's not selling to realize a loss. He's not selling because he has to. He's selling to get into NASDAQ or the S&P 500. That's why he's selling. That's the reason. That's the whole reason for it. He's showing those people that he can sell even during a bear market. And he can sell a lot. And he'll be fine. He's proving to the market that his products work. And he's also showing that he can sell during a bear market and not greatly impact the price of Bitcoin. So this is ultimately a bullish sign. It is good long term. He's just basically, people have set, the people that are in charge of putting him in those indexes have set a list of demands, and Michael Saylor is essentially providing those demands. Nothing bad. Nothing bad. He's not selling because he has to. That's the way some people are writing it up and treating it, but they're wrong. They're just clickbait people. Kicking myself for not taking the ICP trade at 21. Thought for sure it would explore range lows. Bitcoin had other plans, I guess. Who cares about Sailor? They don't own a commanding share of the night. No, they don't. They don't. They own 4%. They own more than anybody else, but yeah, they control a very small portion. Bitcoin trades at like $30 billion a day, every day, $30 billion. Okay, so we just got the 4-hour close on Farcoin. It is a bullish engulfing. So there you go. So now, basically, any pullback into 4-hour support, in my opinion, will probably spur buyers. I mean, I won't be buying it, but at the same time, I don't think the sell trade is working. It's broken at this point. The next candle is most likely going to be an expansion candle. You took the New York volume and literally reversed it. So it's hard. I mean, anything can happen still, but I don't like it anymore. All right. And you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll see you again on Thursday, but obviously I'll see the Discord members tomorrow. I'll be around. If you need anything, hit me up in the Discord. Make sure you guys trade safe. Make sure you trade smart. And as always, happy trading, everybody.